Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. Everything is connected. We are connected. You are connected with everything. Everything is connected. As long as we are appearing in a human form, there is a special connection with all the other humans. Now, the funny thing is, I got two questions. They are connected to that human connection, but actually the interest is the exact opposite. There's one friend who asks about why is it still lingering or what to do with it. An old relationship, and she's clear she doesn't want it anymore, but still it comes to the mind. And somehow that connection is somewhat bothersome. And then the other question is, a friend has been rather long time away from the family, from the parents, and is now, after a longer period, spending the Christmas and New Year with her parents. And somehow feels, why is there not more a connection? So on the one hand, there is too much a connection. The other hand, would be the desire for more of a connection. Anyhow, we'll go into it. All is one. In that oneness, there is the multiplicity. There are many beings in that oneness. Those beings, they are all one, not separate from the whole rest, and yet have their uniqueness. Then those beings project into this world, in any other world, into this realm, in any other realm. And in this particular projection, the origin is forgotten. And there forms that sense of a separate personality while growing up in this world. And yet, in reality, the true being is not incarnated in time and space, is timeless, spaceless, always. All one and unique simultaneously. And that unique flavor is being projected, an aspect of it in this projection, in this world, what we call an incarnation, although it's just a temporary projection. But there forms that sense of I in that projection that feels separate. Somehow one feels there is a connection, but often there is that feeling of being alone, lonely, being separate from all that is. And then people look for companionship to overcome that feeling of being alone. of being separate. While all the while, you are always connected. You are just not aware of it. But this connection on the manifested level, on the mental level, is getting stronger if we are in connection externally with people. If we grow up in a family, spend lots of the time with the family, automatically there is a stronger connection, a stronger bond. It need not tie, it need not limit us, but there is a stronger connection. It's simply there. People who work together, people who are in situations of great intensity, automatically there forms a stronger bond. And so, of course, if somebody is in a relationship, especially it goes on for quite some time, then there is a special bond that is forming there. Even if the two then decide, okay, we go our separate ways, so the relationship is part of the past, then still that special connection is not simply vanishing like that. Now, my friend, she asks that I'm talking often about like letting thoughts come, letting emotions come and just pass through. Yes, if we can do that, then we can just let them pass through. But if they are persisting, maybe we have to give them some attention. And now she says in her conscious mind, she knows she doesn't want that relationship anymore. Now, in the subconscious mind, there is maybe some interest still there. At least it comes up. Thoughts come up, feelings come up. If you can just relax and let them go through, fine. But if they persist, then okay. Sometimes you need not do that all the time, but sometimes when that comes, you say, okay, I'm sitting down and really giving attention to it. And then let those emotions come. Don't try to push them away. Let the thoughts come. Don't try to push them away. Let the images come, maybe, that they may come along with it. But then try not too much to be caught up in the past and the stories, but simply be in the present and watch what is it doing right now. Sometimes there may be feelings of attraction, sometimes there may be anger. Let it come up. But redirect the attention from the story to the effect the story and the thoughts and the emotions have on you right now, in your body, energetically. Watch it, observe it, and then learn to relax. And in that way, these energies locked still in the subconscious, they have a chance to come to the surface and evaporate. Now, in such a situation, the added difficulty is that if we think of somebody we know, then invariably we're creating an energetic connection at that moment. That other person may not be aware that we are doing so, but maybe the thoughts come, ah, that person, and starts to think and connect and send the energy back. And so the whole process is made a bit more difficult because two persons are involved. Nevertheless, the way to go about it if you want to detach from it, if you want it to stop, that it comes to the mind and creates thoughts and feelings that you don't want, then accept that you have to give attention to it. And even if you do so at that time, you connect again at that moment with that other person, and this invokes responses. Still, the way to go about it is the same. Learn to remember to redirect the attention. And then you can very well invite the thoughts instead of pushing it away and judging yourself that you're still having those thoughts, judging yourself that you're still having these emotions and I shouldn't have them. Just accept, okay, it's still there. Something needs attention here. So invite them, let them come up, let them grow strong if they have to. But at the same time, remember to detach from the story. Just redirect the attention to your experience right now. See what it is doing to you. See what it is doing to your experience physically. See what it is doing to your experience energetically. And there, the emotional and the intellectual, they ride on top of that. But if you redirect the attention like this, then you're not holding on to the attachment, you're not increasing the attachment. If sexual energy comes and you feel troubled by it, then try also not to fight with that. But there also, try not to get lost in stories, but just redirect the attention. See what it is doing in the body. And maybe you can give a hint, a help that this energy transforms, that it's not being locked in the lower part of the body, but let it flow up along the spine to the top of the head and then distribute it throughout the body. You may imagine it, and then it may start to happen. And in that way, the mind becomes peaceful instead of restless, and detached instead of restless to do something, instead of being attached. If you deal with it when it comes up, when it bothers you, it may take a few times, it may take just one time, it may take many times. If we deal If you deal with this situation like this, then that attachment that is unconsciously still there, that expectation that is unconsciously still there, is fading away, and then you are free of it. And even if later thoughts come, then it doesn't matter. It's a story. Comes up, you think about it, you let go. Okay, I wish you very well with that. And then let's talk about the other story. My other friend who has not been with the family for longer period, little contact, and now is with the family and is somewhat surprised that there is not more of a connection. Well, that connection is still there. Simply, it may not be as emotional as you have expected it would be. And so it's not felt so strongly. But you need not struggle to somehow produce it. It's enough if you are there, a friendly presence, a silent presence when necessary to you connect externally. And then if you are relaxed about the whole situation, then that radiates something that the others also relax more, and then suddenly you start to feel that there is a current going on between you, between your parents and you. Just don't approach the situations with too much expectations. After all, what do we want when we come with an expectation in a situation? Then we simply think, I need something to be happy. I need something to be complete. But if we really look closely what's going on, more and more we become aware that happiness is already in our own self. We need not produce it somehow. That completeness is already there. It's not that there is something missing, that there are holes in it that we have to somehow fill up. The more you are capable then to approach this situation in a very relaxed way, not worrying whether there is much of a felt connection or not, but that you can be natural, that you can be at ease, at peace with yourself, then actually you're radiating something that does attract more the attention of the people because they start to feel at ease with you. Even if you want the good, even if you want to feel a good connection, but if you come then because of that with a certain tension, then that has the tendency, without people knowing what's going on, that they rather uh, step a step back. On top of that, right now, there is really something energetic on the way that is there around the world in the humans that makes it more difficult. More difficult to connect with the essence, more difficult that there is that gentle, friendly flow amongst people. That that sense of separation has the tendency right now to get even stronger, that people getting more and more in their little capsules. And the best you can do about it is not to worry about it, to feel complete in yourself, to feel at ease, at peace in yourself. And then when you go in a situation like this, like, for example, with your parents, then it doesn't matter so much to you whether there is a lot of emotional flow going on, emotional connection. And funny enough, the less it matters to you, the more you are actually inviting it, because people let down their guards if they don't feel attention from your part. They let down their guards easier and connect in a more heartful way. We are here to learn. We are here to grow. And all our stories contribute to that. And the way we grow up is forming the personality, giving the tools to work with the situations, but also creating a lot of obstacles often. And somehow, with the situations that we deal with, we learn to become more self-aware, no matter what is happening. Whether we are alone or whether we are with people, whether we are with people that we know well or whether we are with people that we don't know, or whether we are with people with whom we have a lifelong special connection. The best course how to deal with this situation is always that we learn to be self-sufficient, learn to be centered in the present, learn to relax in that situation as good as we can. Then we bring something precious, and it will also invoke responses. Then you may feel more of that flow. But whether we feel that flow, whether that flow is there, it's mainly emotional, but energetically in our consciousness, in our love, we are anyhow connected. Even if superficially is not much felt, that connection is still there. Just don't worry about it. Be yourself, relax, be natural, and then take it as it comes from day to day as the story is unfolding. I wish you all well with it. Hario, Hario. Okay, my friends, now I have been talking and I'm inviting you. Is there anyone who would like to come in and say something? You are welcome to do so.
Hi, hello.
Hello, Leela.
I wanted to ask about letting go as emotion, letting go, yeah, anything as emotion, as a way of living.
Mhm. You want to ask how to do it or why to do it?
Uh, both, maybe.
Both, maybe.
Well,
Let.
I'll just say that I have been experiencing that because of all the challenges that we've all had, and specifically me when I broke the hip and
Mhm.
yeah, and many things,
Yeah.
and specifically this accident I had, I would say offered or brought some kind of a change,
Mm.
some kind of change,
Yeah, yeah.
and very strongly I felt this motion of letting go. But also because of what's happening in Israel, that it's really getting too much.
Mhm.
Absolutely too much.
Yeah.
And another event that maybe I mentioned something about my sister, all together. And at the same time, I feel this kind of motion of letting go because somehow it's the only choice.
Yeah, yeah. I see. Yeah. When I say then be aware of the emotions, be aware what they are doing, and then let them go. That doesn't mean we have to push the emotions away. We don't have to suppress the emotions, but we can learn to keep them in their place where they belong and not hooking into them, not getting attached to the emotions and make them bigger and bigger and very difficult to deal with. Let them go means that we are not hooking into it, that the emotion comes and they go. We let them come, but also what is very important, we let them go. And then they come, they go, they don't leave traces. And now in your situation, it so somehow has triggered that you have to let go more. Or if you don't, then you're carrying a weight unnecessarily with you, and it's better to let it go. not carry that weight. That doesn't mean you have to create a wall around you and think I shouldn't have certain emotions. I shouldn't have these emotions anymore. If they want to come, let them come, but you are aware it's an emotion. It's a momentary wave. It comes, it's there for some time, it goes. You can enjoy it when it's there, but let it go when it goes. And then emotions are not a problem. They become problematic because people hook into them and make them bigger. Or then there are emotions that we think I shouldn't have. I don't want them. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have them as a spiritual being. They are too low, these emotions. And then we fight them, and fighting them instead of making them go is also strengthening them. If we learn to accept when they come, that they come, see what they are doing, enjoying them when they are there, and letting them go, then the whole emotional level is not more a problem. Letting emotions go means that we stop holding onto and feeding them and thinking it positive or negative. If there is a nice emotion, a friendly feeling for somebody, then we want to hold on to because we want to keep that friendliness. We want to enjoy that we feel that friendliness to somebody, but you can't. Emotions always are changing. And then there is a struggle and it can create unnecessary tension. And the opposite is also there. There comes an emotion towards somebody that is unfavorable, that motion is that person is getting on our nerves. And there comes the emotion, and I think I shouldn't feel like this. I should be beyond such feeling, and I fight it and make it stronger. Or then I get just completely sucked into the story and think about their position, my position, start to argue in my head and uh, trying to make the other parties clear that I'm right. That's how I'm seeing it. And like that, we holding on to an emotion and make it bigger, and then it can become very painful. And if it's even more bigger, destructive. But we can learn to accept, okay, emotions come, certain things happen in the story, and it triggers emotion. Okay, let them come, let them be there, let them go. Don't hold on to them. Or it's not even in the story outside. Something comes to my memory, and there I'm going again. All the emotions are coming that connected to to that memory, but then I can learn to redirect the attention, not stay with the story that has triggered it. Look directly at the emotion, what it is doing, and learn to relax. And like that, we are not holding on to, we're just letting it there for some time and go when it's going naturally.
So how about um, opinions and the connection between opinions and emotions as also when I try to understand life or to understand the world, then there seems to be a mix. I have opinions, other people have opinions, we speak, and then there is a dialogue, and then there is like reaction inside, or maybe it's also coming outside by speech. And but it's nice to talk with someone about. It's nice to talk with people, but when I hold on too much to my opinion or they do, then it becomes not so nice because it's somehow it's not the point.
Yeah.
to hold on to the opinion. What I feel when I say it's not the point, it's just nice to listen to someone when I'm clean inside.
Mm.
And then they say what they want to say, and fine, unless they say something really, really extreme.
Yeah. Well, then the tendency is then it turns into a struggle who is right. If you hold on to the opinion. But you don't have to necessarily give up your stance, your opinion, but you don't have to try to impose that opinion on somebody else. You can also be friendly and accept both from both sides. Okay, basically there is a friendly feeling between the two of us, but we have different opinions about certain things, and we can accept that this is so, and we need not change it. That I need not think I need to change the opinion of the other person, and the other person may also think they need not change your, and you can agree, okay, we disagree. And then drop it instead of getting into a fight.
Yeah.
It's not that
Because I have been,
it's not that in
sorry.
every discussion after that everybody should now uh, think the same thing. That we can also accept, all right, I see things from a certain perspective in a certain way, and somebody else wants to see it in another way, and then that is their bloody right to do so.
Yeah, I have been noticing that being in contact with someone or making like contact, being in a long contact with somebody I've known, or just making short contact with somebody I just met, is so much nicer when I just like relax, relax my opinions, relax even my emotions in a way, like I somehow relax. And then it's easy. And then I also don't remember what happened. I don't necessarily remember what happened in the meeting, but I do remember the essence, the atmosphere, where
Yes,
it, especially if it was nice. Then it's not the person was that was nice. Maybe also yes, or I was nice, but it was nice.
yes,
It was
definitely.
pleasant.
So you have noticed that when you were capable of relaxing in a situation that brought something very beneficial, not only to you, but to the whole situation. It influences, definitely.
Yeah, I have noticed. Yeah, I have noticed that.
Yes, great. It's good to remember when you meet people that you can always, instead of struggling to make them understand and accept your opinion, you can also silently bring something very creative and beautiful into the situation, and everybody benefits from it. Mm.
Yeah. So it's the same with the inner speech, with the inner blah blah.
It comes always back to ourselves, always, everything.
Sorry,
It comes
sorry.
always
Comes back.
back to ourselves, always, everything. It's about our story, about our learning to deal with the situation, about our becoming more self-aware, about our unfolding and spiritual growth, if you want to say that word. Essentially, you remain the same, but the experience is expanding, the experience is unfolding, and that's what we are here for. And the more we are doing that, the more we are automatically also doing something good for the whole rest and of existence, especially the people that are in direct contact with us.
Okay.
Shall we leave it at that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Werner. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hari
Hari
Om.
Om. Hari Om. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? You are welcome to do so. Okay, then I tell something. Just when I woke up, before I opened up now, I read a message of a friend, and she said, my mother suddenly died of heart attack. She didn't have any indications before, and now suddenly she died. This friend didn't write me with the idea that I'm talking about it here. She just said, there is the knowledge that nobody is there, and yet there is pain, emotional pain. The mother is suddenly not here. I've been talking to her every day, not suspecting anything, and now suddenly she's gone. And there is pain, and yet there is nobody here. Right. Somebody can have that experience of emptiness, where there is nothing. We need not jump to the conclusion that that is the reality. It's an aspect of reality. It's not the last word. That emptiness that is empty from the standpoint of the mind is also full. It's full with the potential. And there is nobody in the sense that that person that we usually think that we can experience, we can see through it. This is an illusion. There is nobody there. It's something that we are creating in our mind, and we are thinking about it all the time, so it becomes so solid and so real, and we are recreating and recreating and recreating that being, that person. But that I feeling in the person is just a reflection from that being that is prior to that, that is not incarnated, that is timeless, spaceless. And then one can have that experience that there is nothing. I think that's all there is. There is just nothing. It's empty. But there is that impersonal beingness, and yet in that impersonal beingness, in that oneness, there is also a being, a divine being, all one, not separate, and yet unique, with its unique flavor. So nobody is there is true from the perspective if you look at the person because that person is just a momentary offshoot. It's not what we are. The person is something that is there when we create it, and when we stop thinking about it and feeling about it all the time, then there is not a person there, there is nobody there. But there is not nobody there either. Because there is a being that is experiencing. That being is not affected, not hurt by what is happening in manifestation, but is aware of what's going on. And in manifestation, then in such a situation, it's the totally natural reaction to the situation that there is sadness. As long as there is manifestation and human interaction, there are all the emotions there as a potential. And there is nothing wrong. There is sadness, there is mourning. As long as we are not identifying with it, as long as we are not hooking into that emotion and let that emotion pull us into a dark space, or in a space of self-pity and lamenting about our how poor and poor, what a poor person we are, feeling sorry for ourselves. As long as we are not letting happening there, then that sadness is totally a justified emotion, and it's not a bad experience. If we don't resist and experience sadness without attachment to it, then that experience becomes very beautiful and expansive. There is all this experience there, in spite there is nobody, because there is also somebody, but not a person in separate from the whole rest, but that being is there. You are that being. And that being has the full potential for human manifestation or any manifestation in any realm. These realms, there are appearances. They change all the time. They are not permanent. But at that moment, when it is experienced, there is reality. The reality, the life of an experience. And there is somebody. There is that being there. That being cannot hurt, but it can produce the emotions, and then in manifestation, that attachment, slight attachment, it may be, even if it's not a strong attachment, that slight attachment to the person is there, and there we are creating emotions that often can become problematic. But if we don't do that, if we learn to accept the emotions, knowing that what we are cannot be hurt, and then we can let those emotions come, but not haggle with them that they're empty or not empty. It's just the experience. It's real as an experience right now. This world, as it appears, is real as an experience right now. Our memory is that reality is not there. We try to give that reality to the past, to our memories. It's not there. It's just a memory. It's just in the mind. But in manifestation, emotions will be there. Let them come. let them go. We don't have to somehow try to stamp down on those emotions and think it's not spiritual to have emotions. As long as there is that human appearance, that whole range of emotion is there as a potential and anything can trigger it. And if somebody who is close certainly is not there, naturally, there will be an emotional reaction. Naturally, there will be pain. But if we don't resist, if we don't struggle against the fact of the situation, then that pain doesn't make us suffer. Then there is not that nagging struggle going on in the mind. It shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be like this. It's that which makes people suffer. If we stop doing that, we stop suffering. Then the circumstances that are presenting themselves, that are there as an experience, momentarily real. They come, they go, they change. Sometimes they are happy, sometimes they are not happy. Sometimes they are to our liking, sometimes we don't like them. We don't have to artificially try some gymnastic and think, oh, I should like everything in the same way. No, as long as there is duality and manifestation, there are certain things that are likable and certain things that are definitely not likable. It's nothing wrong with all that. These emotions can come and go. Just if we are aware, this is a momentary appearance. It's real as it appears. It's gone a moment later. It's just a memory, and it has no other reality than a memory. Nothing wrong with that, because right now, again, the present moment is real as an appearance. It's alive. And there, that connection is there with that which is prior to the story, which is prior to time and space, which is prior to projecting, prior to manifestation, that pure divine being that you are. All one with all whatever is manifested, and yet unique, a unique expression of that one mystery of what is, of existence, that one that cannot be named. No name will reach there. No name, not even like names like shunyata or emptiness. Even that emptiness is just an aspect of the mystery of what is. It's good to be aware of that. It's good to struggle to bring the attention back, to remember, to get rooted in that, function from that perspective, aware there is that divine being, that's what I am. And then deal with the circumstances as they come, as playfully as we can, as unattached as we can, but keenly alive, intensely here. Not detachment doesn't mean that we are getting somehow dull and just so in a frozen state go through life. Detachment simply means that we are not letting the circumstances pull our attention into a space where we are losing that clarity and then start to identify more and more and struggle against the fact of what we are experiencing. And then there we are suffering. That is not necessary. And if you're living from that perspective, then even if something sad happens, we may cry, we may feel that sadness, and that sadness that is not resisted against, that is accepted as a manifestation, a momentary manifestation, a momentary expression, that sadness can turn into a very beautiful, expansive experience. Okay, my friends, I'm asking once again, is there anyone who would like to come in? You're welcome to do so. Seems today nobody wants to talk. As every year, the last few days, everybody, at least in the Western world, but it has also invaded Asia, wishing each other Merry Christmas. It's something that is celebrated, something that has been there in the society, in the Western society, very strong, and has been always a special, intensive period. And even people who are not religious, who basically don't care about the church, don't care about religion, this religion or that religion, somehow Christmas was a time that has engaged everyone on some level or another. It has been a period in the year that since time immemorial, there has been a celebration, a special celebration, worshipping, honoring rather than worship, honoring the light. It's also in the northern hemisphere just a time when the days start to get longer again. Of course, in the southern hemisphere is the opposite. But the cultures have sprouted mainly in the northern hemisphere. So it, that's the point in the year where this has been celebrated by different societies in different ways. And then it was also there in the Roman society before the Romans were made into Christians by one Caesar, by one emperor who decided Christianity is now the rule. But somehow this remembering of honoring the light has simply continued and has turned into Christmas. And then it has been turned into the birth of Jesus, because Jesus is supposedly the Son of God. And though Jesus is representing the light, it's Christ that we are honoring. Jesus is a story, but Christ is that consciousness, that pure light that is not the opposite of darkness. There is light and darkness as two opposites. But prior to that, there is just that essential beingness, and you can call it pure light. And it has always been associated with light. To open up to that, and so this Christmas celebration is creating an intensity throughout society in spite of many people are not religious at all, they are not spiritually interested either, and yet somehow every year it gets again. Everybody wishes to and fro, Merry Christmas, best wishes. And if it's not happening, sometimes people feel something is missing. Or people who are living in the midst of society, in the midst of people, where everybody is celebrating Christmas, then they are alone, they feel very left alone. And often that can have tragic consequences. This remembrance of honoring the light, it's great that it is there at least for a few days in the whole society. Of course, then society has managed to make a big business out of it. A lot of the attention, a lot of the intensity is going totally the wrong way, but still that intensity is there and profoundly somehow touching people. And then we can open up to that and not get caught up too much in the restlessness of the whole story. We can open our heart to that yearning of every living being to be aware of that light, to be aware of ourselves, to be aware of how we are all connected, all one. We need not artificially produce that. We need not artificially produce good feelings by giving gifts to each other. Somebody who wants to give gifts can give gifts and receive gifts. Nothing wrong. But actually, the whole, we could use that intensity of the whole celebration that is there because it has been there for a long time and so has gotten its momentum so strong and is being ingrained in everybody in society that it's simply a fact that there is an intensity around this time, but we can make use of that intensity to come to the real purpose of that celebration, to that pure light, to that pure beingness, to that which we are. Then we're really celebrating Christmas. Is by now anybody there who would like to say something? There is Andreas. Hello, Andreas.
Hello. Yes. Can you say something about like ordinariness? Then, like when I was meditating this morning, I tried to just keep it very simple and just be present and instead of like trying to achieve something and you always like stress that we should try to be present in our daily life and this seems difficult for me in a way and it might be easier for me if I just like try to because then I always tried to like feel something special or so and it's a lot about like just being there and accepting the ordinariness of life, isn't it?
Yes. It doesn't mean that you always should try to feel certain feelings or to be in a particular way. It's enough that we learn to be alert, awake, just being aware in the situations, then in that awareness, actually, automatically we see things that we have not quite been aware of before, like contradictions in our way, how we are behaving, contradictions how our mind is functioning, which invariably result in pain or strain sooner or later. And if we become more aware of that, then we just learn to let that go. Without having that idea, I should feel certain things. So by all means, just be ordinary and be aware, not ordinary and be asleep.
Yeah, in a way, I'm always daydreaming. In a way that I'm not here. I'm just my thoughts are. I mean, it has become better over the years, but it's still that I'm most of the times I'm not really present and
Hmm.
I'm thinking about something else.
It's like some 7, 8 billion other people. That's the thing. Our capacity to form consciousness into reasonable thoughts is beautiful. It's a tool, but somehow it has completely gotten out of bounds, out of proportion. It should be a tool that we use when necessary and put aside when not necessary. And somehow, somewhere, something has happened that instead of it being a tool, it became that driving force for people that is more like the boss on top of the situation, thinking, 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 thinking. And it has the habit is so strong individually and for the whole humanity that it's not so easy to detach from it enough that one stops thinking all the time. But the very attempt of not nurturing that, but of becoming more aware what is really going on in that head, what is going on through that brain all the time, what kind of stuff this mind is always creating and doing, because most of it passes by unconsciously. And when we become more aware of it, then we get enough disgusted often. But we are seeing that automatically we start to detach more. So it's more important than to just let it happen as it happened, but to be aware, to observe, than to think I have to change my mind to the better and be better and be something and feel better and feel something. By observing, we see the contradictions and we see how we're creating tensions. And deep down, we know it is not natural to do so. And then automatically that starts to change, not because out of moral reasons that we should be different, simply that when we look closer, then we see, oh, I can avoid a lot of unnecessary troubles and tensions. I can stop her heaping more and more weight on my shoulders and carrying it alone. I can also learn to let it go and breathe freely and playfully go through life.
But a lot of times I'm just interested in my stories in my head, and they seem to be important, even though I can recognize that, like, yeah, I can live very much without most of it. Like, most of the planning is like unnecessary and stuff. But there's a tendency that likes to escape the here and now and go into this fantasy castles.
Yes. Then you can do that also consciously. Like if you have a horse, and then when you ride with that horse, sometimes you very much control it, and then you also can say, okay, now you can run as you like. And you are aware of it, of that running and the stories, but then that need not be the the state that is there uncontrollably, compulsory. But not so much trying to control the mind. We're more trying to step a step back. That's why I said often redirect the attention from those mental. Okay, sometimes we may come up with nice stories that they are quite enjoyable, but a lot of the thoughts, they are simply not enjoyable, and still there is a certain interest in it just out of habit because it's familiar. And in the familiar, we feel a certain security, even if it's a complete illusory security. Still, because it's familiar, we feel somewhat secure. And then there is that resistance of not more thinking all the time because there is that insecurity that coming there. But then what? This is unknown territory. and, and there is that fear of the unknown. At the same time, there is that longing to be free. That longing comes out of the self. It's the call from the self, come home. But then that habitual person that we have created and identifying with, that wants to be free, but at the same time doesn't want to give up its control position. So we think and think and think and think and are interested in it. Sometimes it may be nice story, but a lot of it is not nice story. A lot of it is what creates all the human pain and suffering.
Sometimes I do it too, if otherwise it would be maybe boring. I think that like when I go for a walk and the weather is nice, then I can look at everything and it's interesting. But if the weather is not so nice and I'm walking in the same area as always, then things might get boring. And then it starts to, things start to work in my head.
Well, once you really start to look what's going on in the head, then quickly you may change your idea that what is going on in the head is totally boring. And if you and if you stop that, then you become aware how you becoming alive. When your attention comes really to the present, you become aware of your breath, become aware of your sensations, you become aware of being alive. Now suddenly starts to become much more interesting because it's so full, it feels so fulfilled, it feels complete, and it's not boring at all. It's simply boring when we obscure it with our mind and think and think and think. And when the weather is not so nice, think, oh, it's not nice now out, and resist against the fact how it looks today. If you stop doing that, then you become aware it's the only not boring way to be alive is to really connect with that spark that is only now in that spark in the present moment that connects you with that timeless present.
Is it to do with some resistance against the here and now? Like if it's not interesting or special, or like even unpleasant, then that you go into thoughts?
It's not unpleasant, but it's unpleasant to see what we are thinking. Often it's unpleasant to look at that. And the resistance is there because that habit, that person, that me, that is in charge, that thinks of being in charge, doesn't want to let go because it's familiar. It's painful. We are suffering hell every now and then, but it's so cozy also because it's familiar. And there is that resistance to let that go because there is the fear of, oh, something terrible could happen if that goes. While We are just getting rid of everything that can hurt us, that can make us suffer, that really is not desirable. It's just out of habit. It's a crazy condition.
Yes, for a while I thought I need to feel something special when I get present, and this is not really the case, right?
Hmm. Uh, Not necessarily immediate, because the whole momentum of experiencing is there strong. And so even if you give up running in all directions and bring the attention to the presence, usually it's done then with a certain effort also, because it's not happening spontaneously. And then uh, that covers up, that prevents us from becoming aware, oh, we are actually touching the jackpot. We are touching that treasure where all that fulfillment and joyousness comes from. Simply, uh, we don't give it enough of a chance. Even if there is that awareness of the present moment, then we hold on to the tension instead of letting go. If we learn to let go more and more, it comes bubbling up and we become aware. That's what I have been looking for, has been there all the time, but I prevented it from manifesting. So you can experience the present moment, be in the present moment, and no big deal. So what? And then the mind jumps to the conclusion it's not interesting and goes off again.
It comes up by itself. I don't need to do very much except get out of the way.
Yes, that's basically what we have to do.
Then
And
I get out of the way for the other people.
and when you try, when you work, when you meditate, when you remind yourself, when you try, then usually it's not immediately that you feel something special, but then suddenly, somewhere out of nowhere, you didn't even try, then it happens. You just are here, at ease, at peace. Don't even think about not thinking, you just don't think, or think very little. It happens all by itself, and there is also that sense of something more fulfilled, something different from the way I'm existing usually, something that goes much more profound. Then we start to talk again to ourselves, and there it fades away. But uh, everybody who is practicing will invariably start to experience these moments where it's just happening. And there you get the glimpse that it's not boring, that there is something very profoundly attractive in it.
Is simplicity helpful for that?
Basically, yes. I mean, it's not so that you have to become an ascetic monk and live of practically nothing, but a general rule of thumb is that we rather keep our life relatively simple because if we make it complicated and are still in that movement of getting attached all the time, then we are just getting more and more attached and more restless. As long as that tendency is there to whatever comes along, we are getting attached to it. Then if we are making our life very complicated and restless, then there is more opportunity to always get lost in the story, and it's becoming more difficult. If you rather, as a general rule, make your life more simple, then you make it a bit easier. But that doesn't mean that is a goal. have now extreme simple lifestyle, and then after that thing happens by themselves. We still have to face our mind. We still have to learn to detach from that, even if you get in a very simple lifestyle.
Okay.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Let's stay a few minutes quiet. Obviously, nobody was much interested in talking, so let's stay a few minutes just quiet together. Conscious of being conscious. Conscious of being alive. Let the breath flow into the body and out of the body consciously. It's here, it's now. Doesn't need a thought. We can just be. And when thoughts come, and try to carry the attention away from that peacefulness. We need not fight the thoughts, we just don't get interested. Redirect the attention to that simple fact of being here now, consciously alive. That simple fact that I breathe in and I breathe out and relax. Just be. not trying to be something, not trying to feel something. Consciously here now. Redirect the attention from thinking to simple, feeling the body sensations, and breathe in, breathe out, relax. You can let the awareness flow in the body. Take control of the body again. And even after, when we go out and are active, remember this immovable aspect that we are touching now in the present is never absent. All we have to do is to turn the attention back to its source. And here it is, always present. I wish you all well. Hariyo, Hariyo, Hariyo.